Hello everyone, welcome back to Think Like a Chef. I'm going to show you the fastest, easiest method to make fresh homemade ramen noodles. The food processor will do 90% of the work for us. This is the only recipe on YouTube that will show you this method. Let's go ahead and season the flour. As they teach in culinary school, you should season at each step and with each ingredient. We're going to add about 7 grams of salt, which is a bit over 1% of the amount of bread flour. Next, we're going to add 10 grams of xanthan gum. This ingredient is very important. Ramen is rather low in the hydration ratio, so this will help to hold those noodles together and keep them from falling apart. This ingredient is my own special twist to this traditional recipe. Now we add 10 grams of the kansui water to 200 grams of purified water. This gives ramen noodles that distinct texture and slightly yellow color. You can find it at a local Asian store or even order from Amazon. So I've already added 500 grams of bread flour in a mixing bowl. Now add the salt and xanthan gum. Now go ahead and add the flour mixture to the food processor. Make sure you don't spill to the side and leave a mess like I did. Next, we add the mixture of water and kansui. At first it's going to look like there's not enough for the recipe, but don't worry, trust the ratio and it will work. Okay, it's time. We're going to start by pulsing the processor to get things started. Because ramen noodles have such a low ratio of moisture to flour, it's really hard to knead the dough. In fact, many Japanese recipes will tell you to put the ramen dough into a plastic bag and step on it. We're not going to do that. The food processor is fantastic at distributing the moisture into the ramen dough. That's the secret to my recipe. At a certain point, you'll find that the dough will climb up and stick to the container. You'll want to stop the pulsing and scrape down the dough. I prefer to use the fork because it works really well. Now start the pulsing again. When the dough starts to stick to the wall again, repeat the process. Do this about 3 times and the dough will be ready. Here I'm showing you the consistency that you want to see. It should feel pliable without feeling wet or moist. If you feel a lot of crumbling, pulse the dough again to keep spreading the moisture. After the dough is ready, pour it back into the mixing bowl. Now knead the dough into a rough ball shape. Like I said, this is usually a step where you have to knead the dough for 30 minutes to activate the gluten, and it's really hard. But because we use the food processor, we can simply skip that step. Once you have the ball shape, go ahead and wrap it in plastic and let it rest for 1 hour. Cut the dough into 4 or 5 portions for easy rolling. Make sure to wrap up any unused portion to prevent drying. Here I'm only doing 1 portion for the demo. Now dust the table with some flour and roll the dough. Try to get a flat rectangular shape to make it easy for the pasta machine. Sometimes you'll want to fold the dough and roll again to get the best shape. Now once you're ready to roll in the pasta machine, I typically start at 0 and work up to a setting of 2. That gets me a good size of noodle. And that also depends on the type of ramen, of course. Once you're done rolling the dough, go ahead and use the spaghetti size cutter to make your noodles. Here's a key tip for you. What do you do with the noodles you didn't cook? Well, an easy trick is to use sandwich Ziploc bags to store the noodles in the freezer. They will keep for weeks and still have that fresh homemade taste. So there you have it, the easiest, fastest homemade ramen noodles recipe on YouTube.